Alright, I'm doing this video because it's something that in America we kind of need to talk about, but I'm also doing this video based on some conversation I was reading between friends on Facebook. And it has to do with a little bit about affirmative action. What I wanted to do is I want to break it down. You have, alright, equality of entry and equality of outcome. They're two different things. And a lot of times we're confusing which is which. Excuse me. Alright, okay. Equality of entry is that essentially everyone's created equal. Alright, everyone has the same opportunities. They come to you for a job, and you look at them and say, well, I'm going to look to see which is better qualified, which has a better personality, and that person's going to get the job, regardless of any silly superficial thing. Alright, you know, race, gender, whatever it is. Alright, but equality of outcome is where you change the conditions so that the demographics more equally represent equality among all the, once again, superficial groups. Alright, so in this scenario, let's say I own the business and all my workers are guys. Alright, I all have men, and my business is delivering bags of concrete. I have 150-pound bags of concrete, and I have to deliver them every day. So I have two employees, let's say they're both males, and the government comes to me with some complaints saying that, oh, you know, you need a woman in this group because, well, it's not properly showing diversity. I go, I'm like, well, what do I do? They say, well, you have to hire a woman. I say, well, I can't afford to hire another worker at this time. They say, well, then you might have to let someone go and put a woman in, let's say, in this example. All right, so what I have to do is I have to get rid of one of these good workers to hire a woman. And if I don't hire potentially the first woman who comes to my doorstep, once again, they might have a case against me. All right, now this is a pretty extreme example, but let's say that, you know, I have a 100-pound girl fresh out from college, needs a job. She says, I'd like to work for you. I say, okay, you do understand you have to lift 150-pound bags of concrete. And if she still says yes, but is incapable of doing such, I have to employ her. And if I fire her, once again, you know, there could be some retribution until I can properly prove my case. All right, you know, that's an extreme example. I put it again. But, you know, the idea is that we are starting to manipulate the system, like with firefighters in Connecticut, where you had a whole bunch of firefighters who scored decently well on this test to become, you know, a higher-ranking firefighter, or whatever exactly it is. I have to research the case. But the firefighters who passed were white and Hispanic. But there was African-American firefighters who didn't pass. And because all those who passed who were getting promoted were basically of the white race, they said it wasn't properly representing, you know, what's the word they use? Not demographics, but diversity. So they redid the test, and, or, you know, even those who didn't pass, they allowed those who didn't pass, who were of the African-American race, to advance. All right, now, I'm all for, you know, helping people out and everything, but when you start pushing people out who are highly qualified to do a task to hire someone who isn't as qualified just because of the color of their skin, that is racism. I'm going to be point blank, that is racism. All right, you know, it gets really bad with college education because a lot of colleges out there are actively seeking minorities who don't show the same scholarly requirements as people of other races, all right, just for diversity. I mean, I guess their goal is, well, we need to teach college students that the world is diverse. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. Most college students live in reality. Not all right, but most live in reality. And a lot of them have part-time jobs. All right, when they get a job in the real world, they're going to learn quickly about diversity. They're going to work with people of all colors, all backgrounds, all religions, regardless of whatever it is. All right, we are all created equal, and therefore we should all be treated and accepted as equal. When you start putting people in certain positions based on the color of their skin, it is racism. Even if it's for supposedly a beneficial means, all right, it doesn't help anyone. Now you have someone who's underqualified and is going to feel stressed, particularly knowing the fact that they might be put in that position just because of the color of their skin. All right, so we have equality of entry, where everyone gets accepted and looked at equally, and then you have equality of outcome, where everyone's kind of represented equally, but it isn't a functioning unit. All right, because the people are put there, once again, just because of racism or sexism or whatever it is. All right. So I think we need to start addressing this and accepting people for the content of their character rather than just whatever creed they belong to. All right, thank you for listening.